What do you say?
Slava Ukraini.
Planting a tree is having faith and hope in the future. Trees recall what has been and what can be again. So it is a great honor to be entrusted by our guests, Elena Gnes and Serhii Haranskyi, with a tree dedicated to the people of Ukraine. The tree in question behind me is a Fort McNair pink horse chestnut. Somehow it is still in bloom. It's been like that for 2 weeks. I think it knows that this was coming. It was a hybrid discovered here in Washington, D.C., actually in Fort McNair, between the European horse chestnut, which is one of the symbols of Kiev, an American red buckeye. So it combines the urban tolerance of the European horse chestnut with the showy flowers of the American and disease resistance, and is symbolic of the value in plant breeding and plant exchange between peoples and cultures. And while we plant and dedicate this tree here behind me today at the National Arboretum, it is my fervent hope that in the future we can replant Kiev with propagals from this tree and others to re-beautify the capital city in Ukraine. So with that, I would like to welcome, thank you, special guest, Miss Elena Gomez and her family.
Hello, dear ladies and gentlemen, hello, listeners. Hello, dear friends. It's such a big honor to be here. My name is Olena. I'm Ukrainian. Every birthday, our family, we plant a tree. It's a birthday present for me, and I started this tradition because they say that if you want to make the world a better place, you have to start from yourself. Last year, after Russian full-scale invasion, I desperately wanted the world to become a little bit better place. When I was hiding with my children in the basement, when my husband went to the army to defend Kiev, it seemed to be impossible to plant a tree. But somehow a woman who met us in the basement, she found an apple tree. And we planted it on the 40-something day of the full-scale invasion. It's unbelievable that this year I'm here with you, and we are planting a tree in the capital of America with the best representatives, high representatives of both countries, because we all care and we all want this world to be a better place. Trees grow very strong and tall. They give shadow to protect us from burning sun. They give us oxygen to breathe. They give shelter to birds, animals, to live species. But unfortunately, trees do not stop the war, and they can't protect even themselves. Trees burn. Trees massively burn in Ukraine. Russia is carpet bombing my land. It's leveling to the ground our villages, our towns. It's killing people.
And our trees.
And our trees. And our land, it's turned into ashes. It's soaked with blood, and it's crying for help. It's crying for help. Please help us to protect ourselves. Please help Ukraine to protect its land, its people, its children, its trees. We need weapons. Please help us to arm Ukraine. And when the terrorist is defeated, and when the war criminals are held accountable for the war crimes that they have committed in Ukraine, we will plant a tree in Ukraine. And I invite you all to plant on my next birthday, next year, next spring, to plant a tree in Ukraine. And Ukraine will rise up from the ashes, and a new garden will grow. And it will be such an enjoyable work to plant trees in Ukraine, because, you know, like the 25% of black soils allocated in Ukraine, it's so fertile. We say you put a stick in Ukraine and it grows. Ukraine is a very beautiful, peaceful country. This is how it's meant to be. It's not meant to be a battlefield. We will plant trees. We cannot bring back people who are dead and murdered by Russia, but we can plant trees in memory and in honor of these people. And we can make Ukraine a beautiful place again, and we can make this world much, much better place. Thank you.
Stop war! Stop terror!
Thank you very much. It's very difficult to speak after Olena and such an inspiring speech. Dear both undersecretaries, the director, Olena and Serhii, and everyone here, it's such an honor to be with you on a very special day, doing something that we Ukrainians like to do the most, planting trees. Because, you know, everyone knows about Ukraine as the breadbasket of Europe. And this is who we always were. A peaceful country that never in centuries attacked anyone, unfortunately was under Russian occupation for way too long, for centuries essentially, whether it's Russian occupation or Soviet occupation. Country that was invaded in 2014, absolutely unprovokedly. We spent 8 years finding a diplomatic solution to restore our territorial integrity. Russia used all that time to attack us again. And we stand today on 441st day of a full-fledged war in the middle of Europe, where every day something is destroyed in Ukraine, where every day people are killed in Ukraine, where every day we fight literally for our existence, for our homes, for our loved ones. And yet our brave farmers plant every day. And I would like to thank the department for being such an very, unbelievable partner in this, from Secretary Wilczek to everyone on your team, working with us day and night on how to do it better, how to help Ukraine, how to allow us to first harvest and then start the planting season. Now we together working on how to demine Ukraine, because in order to go into a full season, in order to continue being breadbasket of the world, actually. Because Putin is not only creating a security crisis in Europe, not only is waging absolutely criminal, unjustified war against us, but he's creating food crises for so many people around the globe, for African countries, for Middle Eastern countries, for those who rely on grain, on sunflower and other produce from Ukraine. So we can stop it together, and of course you hear me talking all the time about weapons, which is of course the first priority right now. But as we are fighting on the front lines, as we are preparing for the counteroffensive or counteroffensives, it doesn't matter how many, we have to liberate all of our country. But we also have to do everything possible in order to win in the peace. And our work and the memorandum that we signed and all the projects that our Ministry of Agriculture has with the department, but also working on all levels, the strategic partnership between our countries, and the help that we are receiving from President Biden, from Congress on a very strong bipartisan basis, from literally every American. It's a strategic friendship that we will always remember. We will always remember that the US stood with us in this critically important time for our independence and for our freedom. So I'm especially happy that you have chosen a chestnut tree, and especially that you have chosen a pink chestnut tree. I have to tell you, in my childhood, everyone was trying to get a pink chestnut tree. And all we had is white ones, the traditional. So whoever had a pink chestnut tree, that was like a big thing to have. And I really hope that from this tree, and this is going to be my new dream now, that we will actually plant something from this tree in Mariupol, and we will also plant it in Crimea, and we will also plant it in all the places where Russia has done unbelievable war crimes and atrocities. And we will take our pain, and as we always do, we'll turn it into something beautiful. But first, of course, we have to win. So Slava Ukraini!
Героям слава!
And God bless America. We really value this beautiful friendship that is stronger now than ever, but it still can be much, much bigger going forward. Thank you.
Thanks everybody for coming out today for a real important day for us and a real treat for us to recognize our friends in Ukraine. You know, we say farmers hold up the sky, and in normal times when we talk about US-Ukraine, we talk about our shared interests and our shared obligations. We are both powerful agriculture producers, significant agricultural exporters. We are both key players in keeping the world fed. And when we talk about the challenges facing the world's farmers now, we talk about feeding the world and stopping the world from burning. These twin challenges of food security and environmental sustainability. Sadly, with Russia's cruel and vicious invasion of Ukraine, those jobs are now more difficult. Particularly, food security has been challenged by disruptions of production and marketing of grain, by economic loss and lack of purchasing power. Environmental damage has been done by the ongoing war, and this raises the stakes even more as we find ways to try and mitigate and address climate change. So these are hard times for us. Of course, the two important things that could help address those challenges would be to Russia to withdraw from Ukraine, stop killing Ukrainians, and for the world to focus on the job of caring for the earth and not attacking it. So we wait for those days, but even as we work for them, we're pleased with the partnership we have with Ukraine. We're pleased with the Memorandum of Understanding the Ambassador mentioned, that this has helped promote important work with the Forest Service here at USDA, important work on animal diseases, particularly in the pig sector, important work in terms of surveying Ukrainian farmers and what they're able to get in the field and the crop that they're able to produce, and important work on the laboratory and technical side, which Secretary Baig will talk about. So we look forward to strengthening those ties even during wartime, and of course when the war is ended, when the Russians have withdrawn, strengthening our work with Ukraine. So thank you for having us here, and appreciate the wonderful day.
Thank you, Deputy Undersecretary.
We didn't have to do that.
But we did get the balloons, so.
Yeah, they get to do the final part. So, okay, Olena. How about I turn mine over to one of you who wants to use this one? Oh! I know, you don't know who I am.
What do you hate most about?
And baby's cooking.
Just moved with an 80-inch tree spade. So it was just planted, but obviously it's hard to plant by sheer muscle force a tree of this size. So we will top dress it today, and this, just want to let you know, it will be, we have an online database that commemorates our trees, so we don't typically put plaques out anymore, but it will be searchable online with the story and hopefully an image or two of today's events. So why don't we all just grab some soil here and commence with the final step. Side stories, this is what never happened without Dr. Kevin
Actually, this is the first tree that I'm planting and not my husband.
That's my first tree that I'm actually planting.
There you go. Thank you. Sure, thank you.
Багато дерев. Я хочу садити дерева в Криму, в Маріуполі, в Донецьку, в Києві, всюди, по всій Україні.
І в Бородянці.
І в Бородянці.
Ні слава, ні воля, ще нам, браття українці, усміхнеться доля.